Hello folks, welcome. It's the 21st day of Lent. I trust you are in the spirit, but we welcome you one and all to another session on Journalist Hangout. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Today on the program, Military Replies Ekweremadu says officers no longer have political ambitions. Senator Abaribe blasts Kogi governor over alleged high-handedness. And later on, we'll tell you this, stakeholders kick against NNPC's $8.5 billion import bill. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoje. Agree to Jide, welcome.
Agree to Citizen.
We also have a returning Charles Idaho.
Am I returning? But I was here. Okay, the return of
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. And of course, we have Ishmael Omikwidon. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay then, we are ready for the trip. I hope you are. Okay then, the disruptive influences of militarism on Nigeria's fragile political evolution would continue to provoke heated debates until we get it right. The unethical influences of the political class on the military is a never-ending talking point. The Defense Headquarters has promptly reacted to a statement credited to Nigeria's number 5 citizen and the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, who feared that the military could still stage a coup in the face of receding democratic practice in the country. Jide, here we are again.
Yeah.
Like a recurring decimal. Receding democratic practice.
Yes, you see, that statement was born out of Ekwuremadu's frustration with some of the things happening in the country. But if we talk to any Nigerian, he will tell you that democracy is so good, but they have their frustrations, they have their pains. So Ekweremadu was just expressing his own frustration, and he took it a little too far. But I'm happy that the armed forces responded promptly, and they spoke of the fact that right now, quasi-political officers have been shown the door. They are no longer in the army, in the armed forces. And they were referring to what Obasanjo did in 1999, although they didn't particularly give him credit. They just said that after democracy was given back to in 1999, that all those quasi-political politicians, quasi-political officers were pushed out of the armed forces. Yes, Obasanjo.
You are wondering if every one of them was weeded out?
I don't think.
Debatable.
It's debatable, but Obasanjo kicked out 93 officers.
I remember.
And those 93 officers had just 6-hour notice of retirement, and the 6-hour notice of retirement came on a Friday. So they had they didn't have ample time to plot, to plan, and then they just eased them out of the army. Anyone who had held a political
office
appointment at that time, deemed political, if you were made to head a task force, for example, because soldiers who were heading task forces were very rich. If you were an ADC to a governor,
if you were a governor,
a military administrator, he kicked them out. He just told them what they didn't know what he was going to do with it, with the list. He just said they should go and bring a list of all who had held. So some of them were excited because they thought he was going to give them bigger positions. But when that list of 93 persons got submitted to him, he decided to ease them out. And I can tell you that for this, even in northern Nigeria, many people have not forgiven Obasanjo because it tilted heavily, because a lot of these young officers, a lot of them were children of emirs, in northern Nigeria. So he kicked them out. But to say that he succeeded in kicking everyone out, or to say that after that, some people had not harbored political ambitions, is we're taking the joke too far.
All right. Judy just talked about not possible to have weeded every one of them out. But I'm interested in the phrase, no longer have officers with political ambitions. They may still be there. But then receding democratic practice. I go to Cameroon right away, Charles Sideho. Paul Biya is the president, the number one. The number two citizen in Cameroon is not the vice president, but the Senate president.
By their constitution.
By their constitution.
Also concocted by the man who is at top of the whole things in Cameroon. So it's personal aggrandizement. But you see, coming back home to what Ekweremadu said, Ekweremadu may be flying a kite that some of us may not know exactly what is happening. There might be, that's why I underline the word might, there might be rumblings with the military, but I don't think it's enough for them to make any incursion into our body politic. I'll tell you why. When you were saying that, is it possible that there are some elements not still remaining in that? I think there may be, but the fear of what might befall them is heavy.
Failure.
The fear of failure, because we are constantly reminding the military that the era of seizing power by the barrier is gone forever. Okay, well, it may not be gone forever everywhere, but gone forever in Nigeria. I can say, I can put my money on that.
Hallelujah.
Then the recession of democratic, what does it call it, principle practice in Nigeria, is a collective thing. If actually he has seen it, it's collective because he's part of the government. So he can't cast stones at anybody. Because first of all, let's talk about even the issue of governance in the legislature. How much of governor had they been able to give people, apart from all this thing we're talking about, senator, I need about 30 million naira every month. Well, you can't even pay even the civil servant 18,000 naira. So Ekweremadu may be flying the kite, but that kite is dead on arrival. That's the way I will start.
Ishmael, I know you hold a contrary view. It's your right so to do. Although the Deputy Senate President appears cautionary and sincere in the atmosphere of discourse, the military says it was derogatory to the army in the expression used by the extension to the armed forces of Nigeria. End quote.
You see, the problem with us in Nigeria most times is that we are too much in a hurry to forget events of yesterday. You recall that around May last year, when at the period when Mr. President was away for close to 50 days, there was tension, and there was this same rumor. The Chief of Army Staff issued a statement, and let me quote from that statement. The Chief of Army Staff in that statement said, "This is to inform the public that the Chief of Army Staff, Nigerian Army, has received information that some individuals have been approaching some officers and soldiers for undisclosed political reasons. On the basis of that, he has warned such persons to desist from these acts." Could that have been coming from nowhere? This is from the Chief of Army Staff, and this was last year.
He denied it.
This was last year. No. This was last year from Chief of Army. The statement is over. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that when somebody is doing anything, for me, I try to do a background check of the person. And that enables me to draw conclusion. Yeah. Looking at Ekweremadu, for instance, I recall that 4 years ago, in 2014, when there was tension everywhere, he did warn that politicians must desist from acts that tends to create unnecessary tension within the polity. When Gambia was fiddling with issue of military last year, being the immediate past Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament then, I recall that he also issued a stern warning to the military that, look, your era is over. So I don't think that if there's anybody to fly a kite, I don't think that the man is the proper person to fly the kite. I see
Ishmael, but it does appear to me you are thinking for Ekweremadu, granting what you've just said.
No, I'm not thinking for him.
And you have no right so to do.
No, I'm not thinking for him. Okay. I'm just saying based on what he said and based on what I have known about him over the years. Because if you look at the statement itself, what he warned that the fact that we have pushed the military to the barracks does not mean that they cannot.
That the gates were locked.
You understand? So I think what is just telling us that, look, let us get our acts together and try to deepen our democracy rather than begin to behave as if...
So who leads the way here? The politicians. Have you heard this statement, or haven't you heard this statement before? He has just underlined it. Politicians tend to sound military boys out. Oh boy, it'd be like, say...
Yes, in the past, that was what they were doing. And there was hardly any coup in Nigeria that succeeded without civilian input. If you remember, even the 1976 coup, civilians were executed along with the soldiers. The same thing happened in coups after 1976. Even the 1995 Phantom coup and the 1997 coup led by Adisa and co, there were civilians who were also arrested. There has never been any coup that civilians were not involved in. First and foremost, civilians are the people that even the soldiers use. The soldiers use them. If soldiers are planning a coup, they get civilians who are very influential
to provoke it.
So that when they eventually succeed, it won't seem like they are walking into a climate of
uncertainty,
of anger.
Okay.
You know, from the populace. So they try to get influential people and all that to make it look like, look, right. The conditions that we found ourselves made this coup inevitable. Yeah. So civilians and soldiers have always worked together in bringing about coup. If you remember, even the emergence of the president of Uganda at that time, Museveni, in 1986, MKO Abiola was directly involved in the emergence of Museveni. And Museveni was a freedom fighter, you know, who stormed into government house. So the point is, at this stage, things have changed rapidly. The Nigeria of the 80s, 70s and 90s, when people like Babangida could just walk into FRCN and begin to make an announcement, or Joshua Nemel Dogonyaro can walk into FRCN and address the people. That era is gone. That era is gone.
In fact, in Lagos, I'm thinking of radio.
38
radio stations.
You know, in those days, they would even say that they were jamming, communication. Yeah. How do you do that in today's world? With in the era of internet and all that. So anyone who wants to plan a coup will think deeply that, can this really succeed? And then, how do you ensure unanimity, even within the barracks?
Across board.
Because the 1990 coup effectively showed that even within the Nigerian army, that ethnicity was a big factor. So people, it's extremely difficult now to even envision an idea of a coup. So that is the point. At the time that the Chief of Army Staff said it, remember how Nigerians descended on it, and they said he should provide proof.
Yeah.
And he later came out and said, well, there's nothing wrong in warning. There's nothing wrong in warning. They made the Chief of Army Staff to say clearly that there was no proof that a coup was in the offing.
Yeah.
So they made, which is like making him to eat his words. He said, well, there's nothing wrong in a commander of troops telling his troops to be loyal to the civil populace and all that. So he took back part of what he said. You know, so, and at that time, people like Fela and Ofeti was flying a kite.
Exactly,
you know?
I remember.
So now, even the response at that time will have shown clearly that, look, Nigeria has changed. If you want to plan a coup, then you should be ready to kill so many people. Can you pull that through in today's Nigeria? Because people will take to the streets, they will resist you.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and what is the point?
You will kill only as many as you
have.
Yes.
Exactly.
Then what is the point in sustaining an idea without followership? Because in those days, we used to take to the street to welcome people. Who will do that in today's Nigeria?
Not anymore.
Charles, let me come from a different tangent. I hear by law, within the chambers, green and or red, you can make any statement. Okay?
But not any statement, guided statement. Please. That's also part of it.
Whatever you say on the
I know you can't be
Whatever you
prosecuted.
say.
You can't be prosecuted.
No,
But
you are not like
nobody is prosecuting Ike Ekweremadu in the strict sense of the word. But if it was
he has
somebody,
not done anything wrong.
if it was outside of the National Assembly, would the person not be in trouble?
Yes, of course, possibly.
So
if he
let's
has said
exploit
it
that angle.
If he has said it,
How?
no, hold on. If he has said it, for instance, being a serving senator, everything, any statement he makes at plenary.
That statement is just conjectural.
But that's something I'm going on order. Any statement he makes at plenary, he is constitutionally covered or immune from prosecution. But for instance, if he have visited somebody's maybe funeral somewhere within Nigeria, and then he makes such a statement, he could be questioned.
I'm not
because
looking
that's a
at him
thing.
outside of the chambers. I'm looking at another Nigerian.
Oh, well, of course.
But what did he say, really?
But
What did he say?
What he said, he didn't. You see, if you look at it very well, you remember, I think it was either in 1999 or 2000, Senator Waku. His own was that we want coup now. It's a different thing. If you put it on the scale.
And then George Malu, Victor Malu said,
Okay,
I regret not overthrowing Obasanjo.
You know, so these
Those ones are qualified to be arrested.
These are those conditional.
There are sentencing by
Just
inference. It's mine. There are sentencing by inference.
I agree
No,
with you.
what
There
he
are
was
sentencing by
saying, you
inference,
see, he was just trying
just-
to make us sit up.
That's right.
And look,
So that's by inference.
and
that we're not
let's
careful.
face it, Charles. What some of those governors were doing
Of course, I understand it.
merited them being warned, being cautioned, because democracy is such a fantastic thing. We should have freedom. If you can't allow somebody to organize a this thing, get together with his constituents, and where he was giving them gifts, if you have to go and destroy because you are a governor, being a governor, does it make you God? And if people can't freely even congregate, then it's not democracy. That means we are in a military era. That is the point that he's trying to make, that look, if we destroy this democracy, who says that soldiers cannot take over? But I've seen people on Facebook and other areas making it look like he was making an invitation to them. No, it's not. That's not the thing. The statement may be irresponsible in the final analysis.
That's what I'm going to.
But
exactly.
it is not. It won't be right to say that it is a direct invitation to the military.
No, it's not. I am not saying so. What I'm saying is
that's the way some people are looking at it.
I studied. I know language. What I'm saying is that language.
No, I'm not
matters.
talking. I said some people. I didn't say Charles.
Okay, good. Language matters a lot. You could have said the way our democracy is going. If you're not careful, it may spell doom. That's also another language. But for say that it might.
So if it spells doom, what is the implication?
No,
of
the
this
doom
spelling doom?
could be anything.
So if democracy dies in Nigeria, what is the implication?
No,
the implication is military.
The mere mention of military is where the problem is.
Let's just take it that the man said those things out of frustration, because if a governor goes to demolish someone's house at 4 a.m. and nobody cautioned him, even the building, you go to demolish a building that belongs to the federal government. I mean, we should not turn ourselves to something else in this country because when people have power. That's why a lot of us are scared of state police, because if some of these governors can go to this length, if some of these governors can go to this length just to put other people down, then what will they do if they have state police that reports to them that they arm? What will they do?
Ishmael Omikpidon, pointedly I ask you, if according to Ekweremadu, our democracy is receding, what are we doing?
Well, I think...
If you like, go to state by state. The governor demolished a building. What did the Kaduna people do?
Well, I think it's a wake-up call. And I believe very strongly that if El-Rufai had called out his bulldozer around 8 o'clock, it wouldn't have been easy. Because before they demolished that place, I gathered very reliably that before them, for like 4 or 5 days, thugs had made attempt to invade the place, allegedly sponsored by the state government, and they met equal force from the other group. Yes. So I'm sure that was why the idea, because if you ask me, office work starts 8 a.m., at least in Nigeria, that is what we know. So how do you justify a 4 a.m. operation? Only
in a democracy.
In a democracy. So, so I mean, if you witness such a thing, and you now somebody is now saying, look, we must stop this kind of
question again, maybe you missed it.
No, what we do, what we do? Yeah, no, what we will do is to rise up against these tyrants in our midst.
Using the law, lawful means.
Yeah, we use lawful means. We use lawful means.
Using the judiciary.
You know, the judiciary, you know, anything.
There are safeguards
there are safeguards.
in a democracy.
But you see, again, if the table were to turn, is it possible for those, you know, criticizing these men today to do differently? I say so because when Goje was governor of Gombe State, I knew how he ruled his state. He never gave opposition any opportunity.
It's everywhere.
Senator Ali Modu Sheriff, as a senator in this country, I was in Borno then, was entering Borno to terrorize the sitting governor. That time he will come with Senator Mantu's convoy to terrorize the sitting governor. You know, so the thing is, however, we should not say because they may do same thing and refuse to now caution or rebuke those who are doing it now. I think it is high time.
That's a message from.
Yes, it is high time Nigerians stand up against people like this.
Let's begin to take it home. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the clear message from Ekwulemadu's sermon. I do not believe that the military can take over again. The times have changed, not just because...
Or should take over.
No, it's not
they
should.
Can,
they
can
and
should.
Can't.
Can and should.
It's not an option.
Both words. They can't take over now because you weigh your options. To achieve unanimity in a complex country like ours is difficult. They too would have to do a lot of sermoneering to their colleagues before they can readily agree. So, and it will take some time. And while you are at it, if you are not careful, it will leak.
Of course.
It's a much bigger country, which means that coup plotting right now will be much more difficult than it was at that time. It's a much bigger country.
If not costly.
With entrenched interests and all that. So,
all right, we have Nigerians in diaspora responding, and naturally, Folusha, for instance, is in Canada. I greet you, Folusha. Welcome. What time of day is it there?
It's 9:23 a.m.
All right. Good morning to you, but good evening from here.
I hope it's not too cold.
Not too cold.
It's Calgary. Still cold, though.
Manage it.
So you are getting by.
Come back home. Yeah, but let's go.
I mean, I work so hard just to be on live with you.
Okay.
And I respect all your comments. I missed the first 9 minutes of the program today, and I'm not sure if you've commented about this. Particularly, I know Mr. Jide's opinion is that the coup is no longer possible. The question I'd like you to respond to is, what do you think of the model of Egypt? That can still happen. Sisi was very smart. He's still there. That's my question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Nigeria is much more complex than Egypt. Much more complex than Egypt.
Egypt has one advantage: language.
Language, religion. Dominant religion. In Nigeria, Christianity and Islam, both religions are almost 50-50.
Yes.
So, and in today's Nigeria, religion, ethnicity, they all play a part in virtually every decision. Every decision, religion will come in, ethnicity will come in. So even if...
And permit this, revisionism.
Of course. So Egypt is just like Somalia. It's one language, one religion. So you will want to fancy their chances of achieving unanimity faster and better than Nigeria.
Because
so
it is possible.
Issues.
Yeah,
you know what? Let me just use the illustration of 1990. When Oka planned that coup in 1990, April 1990, I was in Kaduna. During youth service. Oka, many people received the news, you know, on a happy note.
Kaduna.
Yes, on a happy note. until he got to the point where he said that they had excised.
So
you now see at NDA, I had friends in NDA that are some cadets who are very close. We used to go there to watch basketball.
And drink, Jide.
Huh?
Well,
And drink. No, go on.
No, that can't be said on there.
Nobody. We don't say that.
You want me to talk about what
Go on, go on.
that can't be said on there.
So now,
All right.
Now, at NDA, people who were doing backstabbing and fist pumping and hugging one another, suddenly you will find that that person you were hugging had ceased to be a Nigerian. It was at that point that everyone said, no, this school must fail. This school must fail. This school must fail. And that was it. So to do a coup that you limited to only a part of the country because you felt that some 5 states were the ones bringing Nigeria down was the reason that coup
failed.
It wasn't like IBB's popularity had begun to go down at that time.
Yeah.
But they still couldn't achieve that unanimity to get everybody. So Hassan Usman Katsina, who in any case Babangida used to be his ADC, Hassan Usman Katsina left his house and went to the house of the GOC1 division
In Kaduna.
and said, go into FRC in Kaduna and announce that your troops and other and the rest of the armed forces here are not involved in what is happening in Lagos. And that was the end. The whole of the North came together.
Against South.
So, but someone like Sisi can make that kind of announcement and nothing will happen. Nigeria is a much more complex country.
Revisionists, prebendalists, and so on, they are 10 for 1 kobo still in this country.
Yes.
The man who leads the way is the politician, including our number 5 man, who, even though he said it within a safe sanctuary.
A safe haven, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is that
People want to jail him over this matter.
But you see, I want to be on the side of the military in what I'm going to say. The Nigerian government actually did a lot in reorientating the military after democracy came back in 1999. You find that the training went on to ensure that they were subjected to the supremacy of civil rule, that they can't do anything. So they were able, that reorientation about, and up to today is still working. And then that's where professionalism again came into the military. And that's what has held sway. Another thing is that when Gambia had a problem, okay, so Nigerian military led that issue of taking what's his name now, Jammeh out of power. Yes. So how can the same military that was at the forefront of ensuring that democracy reigned in Gambia?
All, you gained an inglorious.
They change their minds.
You gained an inglorious.
If they change their minds.
If.
Okay, we have Abiodun here in Lagos. Abiodun, welcome. Join the fray. Let's go.
Good evening, Citizen Jones.
I greet you, sir.
Olawale is my name.
All right.
Lagos. Okay. Please, Kubanji Direct, God bless you. Okay, what I want to say is that such a statement at all is not expected from a high-ranking member of the National Assembly. Let me assure you and tell you that out of indiscipline, irresponsibility, recklessness, rampant, both in the executive and the National Assembly. In fact, they are the enemies of democracy. So such a statement, whether directly or indirectly inviting the military to not come from the National Assembly, they will be the first victim. When the military take over, the executive will remain, the judiciary will remain. They will go back to their villages until we come back to democracy. So it should not come from them at all.
Okay.
So, Ikeremadu should be sanctioned.
Okay. Just to let you know, he cannot be. He made the statement within the precincts of the law, and he was in a hallowed chamber, protected by the law.
That's all.
Saraki, by the way, will not even do anything.
And the Senate President won't do anything. Gentlemen, we must rest it here.
Kogi is
on a scale of 1 to 10.
It's getting better.
Kogi is just an exception. is an exception. And I said it from the one, that what happened in Kogi was an aberration. From the one, I said it, and have never changed. Even when even after the Supreme Court delivered the judgment, I said it clearly on my Facebook post that I'm not a lawyer, but ordinarily, I thought that the Supreme Court should have assisted us to deepen our democracy by not delivering the type of judgment it delivered, because our Constitution, the Electoral Act, did not in any way cover what happened in Kogi. And so the best one would have expected from that Supreme Court judgment was to order for a fresh election and let them go and start de novo, and not to say, yeah, because the argument they kept canvassing, and my argument have always been, you say a running mate cannot inherit the vote, but a running mate...
You find that a lacuna?
It's a lacuna, because a running mate is personality. Being on that ballot,
one ticket.
It's a joint ticket.
May have helped.
It's a joint ticket,
may have even helped the candidate to garner the number of votes he garnered.
Yes.
Now, if you say the man who was on the ballot cannot inherit the vote, how can somebody
who didn't even give any money at all,
and who may not have influenced the pattern
votes
of voting that we witnessed in Kogi come and now be a beneficiary? One thing that was closer to that was what happened in 1999 in Adamawa State, after Obasanjo nominated Atiku as his running mate. Some persons also went to court to stop Boni Haruna from inheriting that ticket.
Exactly.
And what did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court said it was a joint ticket, and that the running mate will swim and sink with the candidate. So I was surprised. Now, well, the argument now is that that election was concluded, that this one was not concluded. Now, if this one was not concluded, and there is no law, there's nothing in our law books, both the Electoral Act and the Constitution, to support what happened, then the best thing for you to do was to have called for a fresh election and fresh nomination. We start de novo, not to bring somebody.
They would not have. Let me tell you why they would not have done that. They already made up their minds what to do. Our laws.
Who are these days, Jide? Who are these
the
days?
judiciary.
Okay.
Our laws say clearly that you can only be deemed to have been validly elected if you took part in that election. So you must be a candidate in the election yourself, and you must vote. That's why you see. Hold on. You must be a candidate in that election. But Yahaya Bello could not have even voted because he was registered in Abuja, and he could not transfer. I said this year that he could not transfer his registration. And that's what, that whole thing now has even become a scandal. So you see governors go to their constituencies to register and to vote. Since 1999, we have never had anybody who was not registered to vote.
And then he participated in the election.
And then participated in the election.
As a candidate.
As a candidate. Yeah. So even the votes, and you know what they said at that time was, why they said that they needed to do a rerun? Because the election was concluded. All the returning officers were in the hall. From all the local governments with their results. So what are you saying? They had almost finished reading all the results
I think what happened
once they all had their results,
the politics
got in. Politics.
And the became so strong and just overrode everything.
Some persons never wanted Audu.
Facts are sacred. Only comment is free. It's free. But I had Oluwole waiting in Ogun State. Oluwole, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
How are you, sir? Thank you for the good work that you are doing.
I'm fine, and you?
Thank you.
We appreciate you, at least for the fact that we want good governance in our country.
And why not?
I pray that the Almighty God will be with us in the mighty name of Jesus.
Okay, then.
Please, what I want to say is that as much as one of our governors, because that is what we are asking for, that is good governance, as one of our governors that is being celebrated, that is the governor of Lagos State. What I want is that I want him at least to work on those who have retired. many of those that left in 2015 have not received a single kobo since they left. They have not taken their gratuity. They have not started collecting their monthly.
Oluwole, you are steering us away from the issue. I'm wondering how we link it. Oluwole, how do we link this to what we're discussing?
Yeah, I know.
If you know, but thank you. Let it be for another debate. But thank you. Okay. Gentlemen, the issue he has raised is not necessarily irrelevant.
No, it's not. Yes. But they're not,
we can't link both of them.
Maybe we'll find a day to talk about it.
Yeah, but governance.
Yes, governance.
What is it about?
Yes,
it's about the welfare of the people.
That's it.
About the
and then it's outside that, then you have no business being there.
We see it in some states. And I think the states where we have not seen it, we are not feeling it.
Yeah, sorry, without holding brief for the Lagos State governor.
Yes.
I've not been paid to do that, but I've seen this on footage from our station here. He went to Oshodi. That intercourse between him and the people is,
robust.
You are wrong, you are right. And they called Ambode Ekweme talk and do. That was a message. I don't know how many governors can walk freely on streets like that.
Some of them will be stoned. A governor was going for Salah prayers the other day, a governor in the Northeast, and women lined the streets. In the Northeast, people know the governor that I'm talking about. And they stoned him on his way to prayers. They couldn't even allow him to go and meet with his God. They stoned him. And he had to quickly do a U-turn.
I hope God no vex.
And didn't meet his God.
I hope God no vex.
And he failed to meet his God.
They gave him an excuse.
He was chased away from meeting his God.
It's an excuse that they gave him.
Charles, but we are talking about governance, which, as you people say, is not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. Because even if you, going back to Kogi again, the business of any leader who has been entrusted with the people's collective mandate is to ensure that in return for those mandates, give them the good things of life.
Not to
they're not asking for too much. For instance, now, even, what's his name, Dino Melaye, is having a field day. So the only thing that Yabelo has to show for his 1 year is just five boreholes. For 24 months, I think for 12 months, 5 boreholes in a state.
You need to see what the man with the white biabia in Ondo State. Yes, within a short time, you need to go and see what he has done.
He has gone to Okakogo, and he's doing. That's exactly what government should do.
It comes back, Ishmael, to what I said earlier on. It is not your age, but the age of your thinking.
I have always said so.
The age of your thinking.
I have always
you may be 90
orientation.
And orientation.
Yes,
you may be 90. But
I still be foolish.
And have the ideas of a
16-year-old.
Of a centurion.
I've always said so.
Or the other way around.
I think
the ideas of a centurion.
Yes, I think what Nigerians should do.
Ade Damola here in Lagos. Let's get to hear you, sir. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening. Yes, I really appreciate your program.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I really love it. It really educates us with the young that are coming up. Yes. Well, I'm not surprised about the attitude of Governor Yaya Bello.
Tell us why.
Yes. This kind of attitude has been going on even in Kwara State. That's the kind of attitude they bring. Even when Saraki, I was even surprised when Mr. Jide was saying Saraki was a young man when he was in Kwara State. I was in Kwara State then.
Yes.
He humiliated his sister, too. Let the truth be said. He told the sister that he doesn't have the security in the state. So if a senator can cry out that this is not bending to the state governor. So I believe true democracy should prevail.
Yeah.
We don't want this kind of trial to go. It's majorly in the North Central. Let's wake up and find a viable electorate to lead us in the state.
Okay, then.
Not other things. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ishmael, let's take it home quickly.
Yes.
Yaya Bello,
going forward,
and so on. Yeah.
Going forward, I think Nigerians must learn how to interrogate those aspiring to lead us. so that where they don't meet our criteria, expectations and criteria, we refuse to vote them.
Sorry, I hear we can continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think
for me,
if the money people still determine who emerges as candidates in the various parties, then the opinions of you and I
May not count.
at the end of the day, because democracy has been monetized in our country such that if you do not have some millions, you can't even contest.
you can't even pick a nomination.
You can't even contest.
but
You won't even think about it. So now, once they say, "Oh, Baba Sokwe, now that person, this is the person that Baba wants,"
And they have a list.
That person, yes,
They have a list.
Most of the parties, true democracy does not take place in most of the parties. They handpick candidates, and if it's a dominant party that has handpicked candidates, you can be sure that those candidates will sweep the election. It's just like going. It's just like going to the northeast, for example, in Borno State. Look, let me tell you, Borno State, the APC from its days even as AMPP had been the dominant party.
Yeah.
The same thing in Cross River. In Cross River, primaries of PDP can be very bloody because they know that once you scale through the primaries,
you are as good as being there. Yes,
you've won.
No,
but in determining even Lagos is the same thing. It's the same thing. In determining who becomes that candidate, most of the time, or nearly all the time, the views of the ordinary people do not count, because ordinary people should be able to influence who even emerges as candidates in the first place. No, it shouldn't be in the main election that they have a
just a minute. Talk about delegates to major elections. The Baba Isale or Baba Ade should not determine who
is a delegate.
Who will be the delegates. I
Let
don't
me
know.
tell you now, the way it is now, the way it is now, the way it is now.
It can't change.
It can't change for now.
The way it is now, governors hold the register of their parties in their states. Remember, there was a time that Jonathan wanted the PDP to go for digital registration.
Which they fought against.
They fought against it. They said, no, that will not work.
They fought against it.
The way it is now, if a governor does not like you,
you don't go anywhere.
If you like, you will not be anything within the party.
Even when
you can imagine the governor of Zamfara State said the other day that Kabiru Marafa's political career had ended.
He said, exactly.
Because clearly Marafa wants to become governor. And the governor probably has another person that he has in mind. That is grooming.
But Jide, hold on. Jide, is that proper? The governor must determine who succeeds him.
That is the nature of the
Can't it be changed?
It can't be changed. I tell you why it can't be changed. Like, it can't be changed. For now, the reason is very simple. In 1979, when you had NPN, UPN, all those days, JMPP, even my mother, who was a member of UPN in my village, had a membership card where she was paying, and they were taking for her like this is susu. So which means everybody had a say because they were all equal joiners and equal founders of the party.
There was party discipline,
there was party discipline, party supremacy. Party will call you. You couldn't do anything outside what the party dictates. But today, what do you have? Money, people are funding the party. So people are funding the party, they are investing. So you can't tell people not to get it from their investment.
Ishmael, do you now say that's
recouping their investment?
One of the vestiges of militarism?
No, I don't see that. But let me come back to the point I was trying to make.
Okay.
I think there are exceptions in this rule, and we have seen instances. In 2003, those who decide who gets what in Borno never wanted Ali Modu Sheriff to emerge as governor. And they did everything. In fact, of all the notable elders in Borno at the point, it was probably only Ali Modu Sheriff's father, who was in the team of those who decide who gets what, that was supporting Ali Modu Sheriff. Every other person in that group was with Kachala. But the youth, the people, said it was Ali Modu Sheriff they wanted. and he emerged governor.
You are closing.
In Bauchi in 2007,
in
Bauchi, Muazu said he never wanted Yuguda to succeed him. And he brought Nadada Umar as his successor. But the people revolted against him and they sent him away.
So it is possible.
It is possible. Malam Shekau in Kano in 2011 chose a different candidate other than the person the people wanted. And he himself and the party, they lost that election. There are actually exceptions. And I think
two things are at stake. The two things at stake, I would say, is that it is possible for the money bags to determine who represents them. Then it's another thing for the people to reject the person at the national election.
Did you hear what I said? I said it earlier that it shouldn't be at the major election. If you heard me, it shouldn't be at the major election that the people can decide. Because the issue of Bauchi that you talked about, Buhari was the potent factor. The moment this person moved to Buhari's party, he carried the day.
Whether he's good or not.
If normally Yuguda would not have won the election on his own.
Before the ANPP has been contesting in Bauchi.
Buhari was the factor.
It is the
party. But ANPP too has been contesting in Bauchi.
It's the Buhari factor. Even 2011.
Buhari contested in 2003.
No, it was the Buhari factor that made it was Buhari's factor that made Yuguda to win.
His influence in
But
that
the
region.
thing is,
it may be part of
please,
I don't see it as a sole factor.
Attention, the producer is your guy here.
There will even be exceptions now. We are not saying all the time.
Charles, time up. Ishmael, it's okay.
Where is your red card?
So that's my yellow card. We must go.
That's white.
But let me thank Jide Otitojo for coming.
I agree too.
Charles, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much. But you take the bills.
Yeah, we are going
send the bills to us.
He's in trouble today.
Okay then. Well, gentlemen, the viewer must understand that our business here is to look for the facts, lay them on you. At this table, what we do is mold opinion and allow you to make up your minds. We are done for the week. We'll be here on Monday. This program will be repeated at 11 this evening. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye for now.